Situation is that some students are struggling to get comments, ratings, tags out of their database using SQL. I'm going to show you a related example. I can't show you exactly the same thing that you're doing because it's an assessment, but I can show you something that's very relevant. So my example here, I've got students being entered for standards. So let's have a quick look at that. I've got a students table, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 students, Aroha and James Wilson, at the top of the list. Remember those names. And then I've got some digital technology standards. And then I've got standards entry. So student ID number 1, that's Aroha. She is entered for 1 standard. And then this guy, James Wilson, has been entered for a couple more, 3 standards. So looking in VS Code, this is our starting point. So this isn't going to work very well, but it'll be very instructive. I've got selecting from these tables with these joins. They're inner joins. So if we run this and quickly look at what that's giving us, we're getting Aroha has got 1 entry. James, we've got him 3 times, but we don't have the other 3 people either. So this isn't going to work very well if this was like a comment system. You know, if you had a resource with no comments and it doesn't appear in your results at all, and that's not desirable. Same with tags or whatever. So let's have a quick look at joins. On W3 Schools, it explains how joins work, particularly the inner join that I'm using returns only rows that have matching values in both tables. So that's what's going on here because this like 3rd student here hasn't got a record in the standards entry table, therefore they don't appear in our results. So we can improve this by, for example, saying let's make these left joins. This one will be a left join, this one will be a left join. Save that and refresh our page, which is this one. And we now have these 3 students appear, and they have got blank standards for where they appear. That's as we'd want. But we still have this problem that James Wilson has got 3 entries because he's got 3 standards that he's entered for. So we move on to a further alternative here. So I've got a second option. So this uses the SQL function group concatenates a bunch of stuff into one field. So it's going to take the standard stand number and the standards entry date entered and the teacher and concatenate them into one big lump. So let's have a quick look at what that looks like. And it's pretty much what we want. We've got each student is appearing once and once only. James has got his 3 records appearing like this. Aroha has got her 1 record and the other people have got no entries yet appearing. So that's fine, that's all good. And if you present something that works a bit like this, I don't have a problem with that. There is a little bit of a clunkiness here, so I'm going to move on to that now. But let's just have a quick look at the template index.html for this and how that is working. Because what we're seeing here is we're using a split. So back in app.py, we can see that the concatenation, putting it all into one big lump, has done this split based on a pipe here. And so that's the delimiter between the different records. And then it's kind of put everything, we see the brackets that appear in the actual page are part of that. So this is being formatted exactly in the in this group concat thing here. To summarize, it's not very flexible. You know, you've got this come out of it. And in fact, I'll show you what this looks like exactly because I have previously done this one. I think it's this one. Yeah, so we can see we've got the entries, say for Aroha here is this line here, and it's this, you know, that 1 entry that she's got. And then for James Wilson, his 3 entries are like this, delimited by pipes. And then we're using that in the template to split so that we can actually have them on three bullet points as we go through. So it would be better if it wasn't like that, if we actually sent through a list to work with. And I'll show you what the ideal outcome would be. It would look like this. So Aroha is here, and we've got her name, given name, ID. And then we've got an entries dictionary item, which is a list. And that list contains a single dictionary item, which is the item that she's entered for. And then if we compare that to James, again, we've got James Wilson here. This is his entries, and entries is a dictionary item for him, and it's a list, and that list comprises 3 separate little dictionaries of the information for each entry that he's got. So this is something that would be very flexible to work with in the template. It's quite tricky to get this out, I would show you, but actually I kind of feel like it's an excellence level programming skill, and I wouldn't like to take the opportunity away from excellent students to kind of work out how to generate this kind of relatively complex data structure that you can then work with. All right, so that's an exercise for you to complete yourselves.